With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Well, I gotta get home and change my clothes.
You're gonna play golf with Forsythe?
Yes, what's the matter with that?
You don't play golf.
Oh, yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I played just yesterday afternoon. Tough course, too. You know, you gotta hit the ball up a ramp and right through a little castle.
That's miniature golf.
Oh, there can't be that much different.
Well, looks like we got our work cut out for us today.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Buena Vista Boys, Season 2. And for our second season here, Matt, what you and I both wanted to do, we wanted to make absolutely 100% sure that we revisit this movie. It's not even a revisit. We visit the sequel. We go back to our favorite state college.
Yes.
And that would be the Walt Disney Animation Studio. I mean, Medfield College, the fictional Medfield College. That's right. This is Now You See Him, Now You Don't, which is the official, I suppose, sequel to the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes.
Yes, and this is becoming my fast favorite trilogy of all time. Like, these guys have really grown on me over the years.
They really have, man. And I was actually, when I was pulling clips today, I say that a lot on these shows because I as I'm pulling clips, I have time to like not really analyze or think about what's happening because I've already like slated the time. So then before the show, I go back to kind of refresh my memory on what happened and pull the clips and whatever. And so my brain can kind of turn off and it can actually allow things that I don't catch the first time.
Yeah.
And I was kind of marveling at how much better actors our boys are.
Yeah.
Skylar is a lot better of an actor. Even Kirk Douglas is a lot better of an actor. They have improved their craft a lot. And I felt pretty good for them. I was like, oh, man, to be like 20 or whatever and just kind of like, you know, getting that Disney money for a second time and just really your career's about to take off. And it's like, man, that must feel real good.
I know.
I don't know what that feels like at all.
They did something so smart in this where they basically cut the cast down to a few talking characters. Frank Welker got a couple of lines. A few other guys got a couple lines. But the rest of the guys just had to stand around. The first movie, it was like everybody's got to say something. And now they're like, no, you know what? We realized that a lot of you guys don't really need to say anything.
It is almost like his friend group sort of shrunk to Skylar, his girlfriend from the first movie. I think it's her. I don't know. And then that's it. And then Ed Begley Jr. And that's all. That's all he needed. And until the guy who looks like he's the guitarist from the Mars Volta, until he's needed, and then he's there, and then it's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, and then a few more guys like show up at the end who were in the last movie. You know, they just called them in for a day of shooting, and they're like, we need to fill out these dune buggies.
We need you guys, man. We need the crew back. I'm like, okay.
One thing I do like about this movie is the fact that the way they play these guys, it's like if there is a crisis in this town, this group of Medfield College students has carte blanche to do whatever they want, drive as fast as they want, break through walls, like sneak into buildings at night. And the cops are just kind of like, you kids, you got so much energy.
You know, especially at the school, like it is really being a drama kid. Okay. And I'm not even gonna say a former drama kid. I'm 47, but like I'm still a drama kid. Heart, I guess. And, the drama kids always thought they had the kind of rule of the school because they got to do cool stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I feel like the science kids at Medfield are the drama kids at, my high school, where it's just like you think you're cooler than you are because you're on basically a first name basis with the whole entire administration.
Yeah.
You don't really need it. And also you got turned into a computer and saved the school. So you can kind of do whatever you want.
Which, by the way, he gets no credit on in this movie.
None.
We'll talk
they don't even
about
bring
it.
it up.
We'll talk. We'll talk about it when we get into this. This movie, right. If they hadn't had that moment, which I'm sure you cover later, that kind of cements the fact that a movie before this even existed, you would have no idea that Kurt Russell had been a world-renowned freak of nature. It's wild.
He got flown on private jets, man. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, man. But now you see him, now you don't. It was kind of good.
Yeah.
When it first started, to see the old dune buggy rolling up through the Walt Disney Animation Studios lot, I was like, oh man, I do feel kind of like we're back home.
Very nostalgic.
Yeah, it was the kind of the better of the two. I think everybody learned a thing or two. The actors learned how to act a little bit better. The writing got a lot tighter. Everything wasn't so hammy, but there were some weird points that we should definitely bring up. But for the most part, it was a fun little sequel. A lot of people like to go, name a sequel that's better than the first one. You can't do it. You can't. Yeah. Now you see him, now you don't.
Absolutely.
You That's what it is.
Yes. No, Caddyshack 2, and now you see him, now you don't.
Well, yeah. Empire Strikes Back. Now you see him, now you don't. You're good, man. You're absolutely
They're
good.
the exact same. Both tight writing. But when I found out it was like 1 hour and 28 minutes or something, I was delighted. I was so excited, like right off the bat.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're not James Cameron over here. You know what I mean?
But you're right. I will second that. The fact that everyone did learn something. There was an improvement in almost every way for a story that's still about kids finding an invisibility potion. Like how far you can take that story. They did it in a very conservative way that led to it being much better.
Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. On the surface, Now You See Him, Now You Don't might seem to be a story about a plucky group of college kids once again turning to the classically haphazard world of chemistry in order to save their mediocre school. But that would be undercutting what is probably the greatest comeback golf story since Tin Cup. We return once more to the shady campus of Medfield College in this episode to check back in with Dexter and his pals as they exclaim, "Now you see him, now you don't." Well, folks, we're back at the animation campus with a short, jazzy little stinger of an intro. And that's it. We're into our movie.
Yeah, it's like it's basically 13 seconds of music and then we're into it.
Yeah. The wind is blowing hard as Dexter Riley comes whipping around the corner in his little dune buggy from the last movie. He runs over to his pals who are gathered around their transistor radio, listening into the board meeting, which is essentially the plot driver from the last movie. By the way, I was very surprised to see how windy it was. And all I could think of was all the ADR that these kids had to go back in and re-record.
Yeah.
It's like, matching all that stuff. That had to be a headache, man. The director was like, come on, why is it windy?
Yeah, I know. But for the 70s, some of that ADR can get so gross and can really take you out of the movie. And honestly, I didn't notice. I've watched this movie twice and I didn't notice at all.
Yeah, no, it was pretty. They did a good job. In another callback to the first movie, the dean is rejecting a request from the science department, again, to buy more equipment. As he's pacing around the room, the dean wonders aloud while every time the board meets, Dexter and his pals are outside, listening to something. The phone rings as the dean dismisses the meeting to take the call. On the other end of the phone is the shady groundskeeper that I didn't really notice that we see in the beginning opening title sequence. Until just now. And he's been spying on Dexter and his pals on behalf of the dean. He reports that the kids have bugged the office and have been listening in to Dean's little executive meetings. Now, of course, the kids hear this because they're listening to the bugged conversation, even over the massive amount of wind that's blowing around.
Yeah.
And they pack up and scatter. They're gone. They take off. Which is kind of funny because, what we were just talking about in the intro to the show. These kids saved the college last year.
Yeah.
Why is the groundskeeper, why does the dean hire somebody to spy on the kids to let them do whatever, put them on the letterhead, man.
I know.
Put them on the gymnasium. They saved the school. Leave them alone.
And again, this goes back into something we were talking about where it's like, they hear, oh, the dean's going to find our bug. We better go and get into his office and, get our bug out of there. We got to go do something like this. They have such entitlement that it's like, because they get to stay at the school late on Tuesdays to work on their experiments, they get to run the school. They have an opinion about how the school should be run.
Oh, absolutely. Meanwhile, the dean proceeds to trash his office looking for this bug. Now, spoiler alert, this whole setup goes nowhere. Absolutely zero places. I thought it was going to be a setup for something down the road in the movie. Like, okay, we're talking about the bug again. Nope, nothing. It seems like the writers thought that the bug device, maybe in the first movie, was sort of left unfinished. So then they brought it back just to close that loop and be like, okay, well, now the dean finally knows. But I wonder if they underestimated the amount that people would care about it. Because it just seemed weird. It's like they started a movie, then they put it down for a year and then picked it back up and just wrote another movie on top of it.
Well, let me poise this though. This I think is interesting, and I don't know if they're connected, and spoiler for later, they do deliver flowers with a radio to AJ Arno later.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's sort of supposed to mirror, like they're getting better at putting flowers in offices.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, maybe.
This was their dry run at doing this again later.
Right. So after that, we cut over to the creative lab, which seems to be a new department that lets kids at Medford ? I don't know, explore science. It's just a science lab, but they call it the creative lab.
Yeah.
And there's no point to it. It's just here are children with, unregulated chemicals.
Yeah.
Period. There you go.
And they do that great visual bit though, to show how much of a jack off class this is. That kid's got that, beaker, and he's pouring things into it, and you find out it's just shredded wheat. It's just a tall glass that he turns into a bowl of cereal in front of the dean.
It does have a lot of oh my God, what is that? Real Genius.
Yeah.
With Val Kilmer, right? It has a big vibe of that.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyway, the dean is touring the lab and comes upon Dexter's area, who proceeds to explain that the problem he's working on is that things are just too visible. Just whatever. And of course, this is where I'd usually play a clip of someone explaining this plot setup about, maybe Dexter telling the dean what he means by, you can see stuff and that, I want to fix that. But in Dexter's case, he flips on a small Jacob's ladder machine, which is that little one that generates that arc of electricity up the two rods, which, yes, I did have to Google what the actual phrase was. And it makes a really cool but loud crackling noise through this entire monologue. It's 2 minutes long, and even in the movie, I could barely deal with it. I love you guys so much that I'm not going to force that on your ears. I'm not going to let you listen to it.
And it serves no purpose.
It serves no purpose other than to show science stuff. But basically, it's Dexter working on how to make things invisible by the way of bending light around an object. And that's, what you get. That evening, a lightning storm hits the school. And one bolt strikes the roof of the creative lab, which apparently they didn't talk to Tom Fury and get a lightning rod. But one bolt strikes the roof of the creative lab. It travels down a chain and begins to affect Dexter's experiment.
Yeah, like a Frankenstein's laboratory chain and wench for some reason.
It's Frankenstein, but that's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Little bolts of energy travel all over his equipment, bursting things and generating pressure in other things. I didn't know that could happen. And producing, at the end, a reddish, brownish liquid into a dish sitting on a counter.
Yeah, iodine.
Yeah, it's the good old days when energy could just make things happen without any kind of control or loss of energy as it travels.
Yes.
We don't need resistance. Even just whatever, it won't burn anything. It's just we're creating pressure in some sort of closed system that we didn't know about.
Well, and this is the second time lightning has been involved to make science.
You would think that after the first time that the lightning struck the creative lab, or no, that was the computer lab.
Yes, the computer lab.
You would think that the school would have invested in some sort of, lightning deterrent. I don't know, a dome,
Well, no,
a shiny golden dome.
I'm going to tell you, I think it's the opposite, because I think the dean is like, well, we got some sort of award-winning experiment the first time. I think he's like owning lightning. Like he wants lightning to be hitting all the time. Something's going to pop.
Yeah. He's like, Cogsgrave doesn't have this.
Right.
So morning hits and a long black Lincoln Continental car rolls through campus.
My man.
It parks and out steps our pal, A.J. Arno, who is very, very tall.
Yes. I have it in my notes. He is 6'3" and 1/4.
Man stacked.
Yes.
We expect some kind of confrontation because A.J. Arno is like passing Dexter and all his friends. So we expect something, seeing as Arno tried to kill or kidnap Dexter.
Yeah.
And then Dexter got Arno sent to jail. But Arno seems sort of unfazed by the whole thing.
Hi, kids. Nice to see you.
Hi, Mr. Arno.
Well, what's the matter? You seem surprised to see me.
Well, we thought you were in jail.
Oh, that? Well, that was a mistake. You know, the police, judges, they all make mistakes. But I forgive them. I don't hold any grudges against anyone. Well, Dean Higgins, nice to see you again.
Mr. Arno, always a pleasure to see you.
Well, yeah,
Always a
thank you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on around here?
Arno took over the mortgage on the college. And he told Dean Higgins that if he can't make the payment in June, to make it whenever he could.
Huh. It sure doesn't sound like Arno.
So there we go, folks. We're in our first bit of the plot. It turns out Arno somehow has taken over the mortgage on the college. And I don't know how that happens. You like buy debt in bulk, maybe? You buy the bank that has the mortgage? I don't know. They made it very unclear. But that was also when, I think financial things could have nefarious outcomes for no reason either.
Jason, mortgage companies can be wrong sometimes. Police, judges, mortgage companies, they make mistakes. I hold no grudges.
Yeah, exactly right.
But this is that moment that we were talking about where if you didn't establish that he'd previously been in jail, this could be an entirely different timeline.
Yes, exactly.
So Dexter Riley, up until this point, they have not said one word about him being an international computer brain.
No.
This is the only thing in the movie that establishes at all that a previous movie had happened.
Yeah, for sure. And you still don't really know about it.
Yeah.
It's not anything part 2 or whatever. But Arno has the mortgage somehow, apparently federal regulations aside.
Yeah.
He took over the college mortgage, and the dean is overjoyed because now he doesn't have to worry so much about the school pulling in cash, or at least making the monthly payments when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Which also begs the question, why is the school short of cash so often?
Well, they're not very good. I
guess, but like,
look at their science class.
But I mean, raise the tuition. I don't know. It's only $50,000. It's not like it's $100 million. Like, I don't know, man. Get investment. Let's go.
He's running a college where even at the end of this movie, they're like, well, we made our money. We made our money last year on a fluke, like electrocution. This year, we've made our money again on a fluke. So this college literally runs on just miracles and happenstance.
Well, and you would think that because Medfield won that the TV show, right, College Showdown or whatever it was, right? You would think that would get, just by itself, would get an influx of students.
Yeah, exactly. You think that, oh, geez, these guys won. They must be a really nice place. There seems to be for no reason, effect of the last movie on this college. Like, they're not any better known. They are in no better financial situation. In fact, it almost seems like they're worse.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's very weird writing from their point of view.
But the dean apparently thinks Arno is going to be true to his word.
Yep.
And so the dean's like, hey, what's going on, brother? Anyway, while Dean Higgins and Arno are off on a school tour, Dexter hits the lab to work on his experiment and discovers the destruction that errant lightning bolt has caused to all of his equipment. As he works on fixing things up, Dexter drops his reading glasses, of all things, into the bowl of brownish liquid created by the damaged equipment, and they turn half invisible. Half of them turn invisible, Matt. What happens next is a drawn-out and bizarre, albeit clever, sequence of Dexter turning things invisible. Tongs, scissors, a pencil, when suddenly he decides to dip his entire hand into the liquid. No notes, not a single way to reverse the effects, just straight raw dogging science. Of course.
That's how pioneers work.
That's
baby.
right, yeah. Wait, I invented a jet engine. What does it look like on the inside when it's firing? I don't know. Let me look. Oh,
Better
I'm dead.
crawl in there.
Of course, his fingers disappear. And then right when they do, Skylar and Dexter's lady friend, who I don't even think we get her name in this entire movie, they walk into the lab. And Dexter bullies both of them to put their hands in the gunk, and they do. Even though, again, we still have no way to reverse the effect. It's just, hey, I was real dumb. Why don't you guys be dumb too? Okay. But just then, Arno and the dean walk in, giving us a little bit of a clue as to what Arno is really up to when he comments that the view from the chem lab is great, and he wants to bring his architect around to see it. As they're leaving, because he can't take a picture, right? As they're leaving, Dean Higgins unknowingly gives the boys a solution to their invisible hand problem. Just wash it off. So there you go. It's water-soluble, invisible goop.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Non-toxic, I'm sure. Invisible, light-bending goop.
Dexter knows that Arno is up to something. He just has to be, because Arno doesn't do things for people if there's not something in it for himself. So he comes up with a plan. Cover himself and Skylar in this newly minted invisible sauce, sneak into Arno's office with a hidden camera, and get to the bottom of whatever evil plan is afoot. Now it's here that we get our first real glimpse at invisible special effects in this movie, as the boys are on their way into Arno's offices. Of course, they sprayed themselves invisible already, and because they're invisible, the camera can't track nothing, right? So we have little sight gags that let us know we're following real people, but they're just invisible. There's a puddle that Skylar steps in, so of course it washes off his sneakers, and all we're left with are this pair of shoes that are walking around.
Yeah, it looks so good.
It does look kind of good for 1972, you know. Yeah. That's pretty neat. After giving the security guard a bit of a fright, the kids are finally in Arno's office, and they stumble upon a huge scale model of something called Arno Town, which is such a great name. Anyway, it's like a whole village of like a dog racing track, a casino, a bunch of other buildings never really explained, and it's all planning on going right where the college is.
Yeah. It's a giant gambling town, basically, for anyone who's following along at home. It looks like Circus, to be honest. It's where you go as a kid in Pinocchio to gamble, but then when you're grown up, you can still go do all those things. Yes,
but
it's a
just
pleasure
with like
dome.
hotels. Yes, exactly. Dexter pulls his camera out of his something we can't see, obviously, because he's invisible, which of course they didn't invisiblify, which is a word I made up. They didn't spray the camera. So we see the camera floating around, right? And it starts taking good old-fashioned flash photography pictures of all of this evidence. And it's just then that Arno saunters into his office for some late-night nose grinding. He notices the flash from the other room, and he pulls out his toolie, his heater, his blicky, his stick, his spitter, his snub-nosed 38. I don't know why I wrote all of those words for a gun, but it felt funny at the time, and now it just feels awkward, so I'm going to continue.
Very excited.
Barging in, he sees the camera floating in midair. The boys rush past him and make their see-through getaway. The next day, Dexter brings the photographic evidence. The next day, Dexter brings the photographic evidence to Dean Higgins.
The zoning laws of 1912? Casinos? Dog racing? Medfield College, a gambling town? What if Arno has got plans like these? He'll foreclose on that mortgage for sure.
I'll bet that's what he had on his mind all the time.
Well, there's always the Forsyth Award.
Oh, that's a pipe dream, Lufkin. Medfield wasn't even invited.
Oh, no, wait a minute. They can't do that to us. We have it all locked up.
But I thought so, too. I thought Druffle's bumblebee experiment would open the eyes of the scientific world.
I wasn't talking about Druffle, Dean. I was talking about me.
Oh, you. What do you have?
Well, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. I'd have to show you.
Well, show me.
I can't. I'd rather wait till the day of the contest. I mean, with Arno and everything. Well, what I mean is, it's such a big discovery that if word ever got out, there's no telling what might happen.
How could word get out? Are you insinuating I'd shoot off my mouth?
Oh, no, sir. We're going to win the award. We just want you to trust us, that's all.
Trust you? This college is going to be taken over by a crook like Arno, and you want me to trust you, you big lummox?
Now, just a minute, Dean Higgins. Don't start yelling at me.
Skylar, take it easy.
I didn't even want to be in on this thing in the first place.
My favorite, I don't know why, but I love this movie because you have invented invisibility sauce.
Yes.
And the thing you're concerned about the most is not telling your dean because you want to show it off for the contest. It is such a child brain to be like, you know what? Instead, I want to take this to JPL and have them reverse engineer it and become a multi-billionaire multiple times over.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to do. I want to win the Forsyth Award.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if Dexter Riley is like smart enough to be at college. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's state, I guess. This would be like the equivalent of like a junior college, I feel.
Yeah.
Like. Where like you apply, you get in.
I think he's exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you think these guys were sort of entitled before? Think about how entitled they become when they can become invisible whenever they feel like it. They're just breaking into offices. Like, it's one thing to break into the college campus. Okay, I kind of get it. You have some keys and you can be there at night. Like, you have a note from, the science teacher. Right. But like, they're college children breaking into adults' offices. They have no business being in, completely illegal to do this. And they're doing it based on this sense of like, hey, well, this guy's bad and we need to know what's going on. It's like, think if everyone in the world operated that way, where they're just like, we can go where we like because we have the moral high ground here.
Yeah, well, it's not so far away from what's happening.
I know. But that's the one thing I always like to remember in these movies is like, we're having fun and it's like, Dexter and his friends are silly. But at the end of the day, they're just breaking laws left and right because they're morally outraged.
Yes.
And
I
adults
think something's wrong, therefore, let's get into trouble.
Yeah.
So it's up to Dean Higgins to get Medfield back into the Forsyth competition, which involves meeting the aforementioned Forsyth on the golf course to talk about how to get Medfield back on the list. The only problem is, and somehow the whole room knows it, Skylar's the first one to say it, Dean Higgins doesn't play golf. So they're on the phone, Forsyth and Dean Higgins, and Forsyth's like, oh yeah, I'm putting, that sucks. And he's like, and Dean Higgins like, oh yeah, I'm always saying that you need to concentrate. And then he's like, well, why don't you play golf with me? And we'll talk about getting in the competition. And then Skylar's like, he doesn't play golf. How do you know that? Stop. You need to have a hobby other than knowing what the administration does in their free time. How do you not? I mean, come on, stop it.
I know Skylar needs to calm down in every respect. My man is just screaming, just off the handle in every scene.
Yeah.
He has no filter on his face.
As Dean leaves his office, Dexter appoints Skylar as the dean's caddy, saying that Dexter, will handle the game himself. He will take care of Dean Higgins. He'll make sure everything goes well. It's tea time, and of course, the dean is a terrible shot, launching his first ball straight up into the air, which I have done on more than one occasion, and then he smashes a line drive directly into the back of an old guy on the adjacent ferry, which I have not done. This whole scene is just one giant sight gag, and it works pretty well, actually. Dexter turns himself invisible, and then he uses his invisibility to help the dean sink not just one, but several holes in one, attracting a large crowd behind the group as they play on, which, again, I think you're right. He's not smart because it's not just like one or two or like, let's just help nudge anything. No, it is like, oh, you're golfing? Well, you're going to destroy every record known to man.
I know, dude. He goes full hog on it. And like after the second or third one, I was like, okay, this is cute. I kind of get it. Like, and then when he was like knocking him out of the trees and then going straight to the hole in one, I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, dude.
Like I'm already watching a movie with golf in it. Come on, you tricked me. But like, holy crap, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible, dude.
And then,
It's
then
terrible.
like that, they do this one thing, this gag that I hate when you have an invisible character and they have to do that ADR you were talking about, like, and they have this fill-in talk they have to do. And so out of nowhere, he grabs a rake and he's just going, farmer in the dell, the farmer in the dell. Like when he's covering his footprints. It's like, what am I watching? Like Dexter Riley would never do this.
He's having so much fun. It's all just a game to him that he's singing as he's raking the sand from the sand track.
Yeah, and it's just out of nowhere. Just like this character just would never do this, but they have to fill in that silence.
Yeah. And lurking around the group that's following, the dean is AJ Arno, because what else would he be doing instead of relaxing at the golf club? You know what I mean?
Why is he at the golf course
What
on
else
the
is he gonna
same
do,
day?
man? And I have to mention his outfit here because the vibes are immaculate, and I'm going to pull them up because they are just incredible.
Yeah.
You got the shirt, red and white houndstooth, wide collar, top 2 or 3 buttons undone.
Mm-hmm.
Sweater, button up, white, loose knit crochet with a ribbon of red at the edges. Only 1 button at the bottom, done. Slacks, gray. Hair, perfection. Watch and a bracelet, both gold, rings on multiple fingers. He looks amazing.
Yes, he is a 6'3" Cuban man.
This is how I want to look at all times moving forward in my life. If I could find an outfit like this, that's me. If I could get hair like that, me again.
Agreed.
I love it.
You know what I
It's
like
the
about him
best.
too is that he's tall, but he's not bulked. You know what I mean? He has a man's human frame.
Yeah. He's not lifting weights or whatever, right?
He's like stylish, but he's also not super thin and he's also not bulked out. He just has your average body build. He's just tall. And so
same.
it carries this.
Yeah, that's why I don't exercise because, I don't want to get too bulky.
Sure. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
So that's why we're all doing it.
Every time I say the word bulky, I always think of the dream of me being a rapper. And one of my lines would be, I'm not bulky like Bortakamoose. There you go. That's it for me. So anyway, Medfield is back into the competition, the foresight competition. And I'm not even really sure what that's about. I'm not even sure what the foresight competition is, but we're back in it. There's a chance to win money. So yay, I guess, right?
Let's do it.
We cut to the locker room of the golf course where we find Arno buttoning up his suit. So, it's like this. So the outfit that we were just talking about, that's what he wears on the course. But then you go to the locker room and then you change into a much more strategic, upscale
He's got
outfit,
meetings the whole day after this.
Right, yeah. And as he's doing that, as he's buttoning up his brown suit, which is not as classy as what he's wearing here, we hear a whistling. And we see a towel flying through the air and over to the showers. And gee, I wonder what could be happening here, right? Arno's Paisley ascot is hanging out as he's staring at the shower door, watching a figure appearing behind the frosted glass of the showers. It's Dexter, fully clothed and soaking wet from washing off this invisibility liquid. So now Arno knows at least some of what's been going on. Which is also probably a really good thing that nobody else walked into the changing room and saw Arno just staring off into the showers like he was.
Yeah.
It seemed a little weird.
Again, this is the go brain of Dexter Riley.
Yeah.
Like he knew that he was going to get sprayed down with liquid that had to be washed off.
Yeah.
And he made no attempt at putting on just a simple jumpsuit that he could just take off and wash later.
Oh, no.
Like he just fully clothed himself.
You crashed.
And then sprayed
again,
himself
brother.
down. Do you know what I mean? Like he could have gotten a auto jumpsuit like Michael Myers and sprayed that down.
Right. Well, also he could have just gone home.
Yeah.
And showered. He could have just done that or had another spray thing, used a hose on the course or whatever. But no, he went into the public changing room. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then for a crowded golf course to have nobody else in that changing room, pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Now we have the dean and the other guy reading newspaper stories about the dean's golf game, where apparently he shot a 54 in his 18 holes, which is literally unheard of. Like you don't do that. Also, he was using a range ball in that entire match, which I thought was very funny.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, it makes it even funnier, where it's like this man has no idea what he's doing. It's driving the point home that he has no clue. The phone rings and the dean gets invited to a golf tournament for 50 G's. This performance. The phone rings and the dean gets invited to a golf tournament for 50 grand. So he can win 50 grand, which is exactly how much he owes. That's really great. And the performance in this scene is stunning. It's actually very good. I really enjoy watching the dean act here.
Oh, Winifred, if that's somebody else calling to congratulate me, would you just thank them and take their names? Who? Oh, I'll talk to him, yes. It's Collins from Telesports.
Sure.
Hello, Mr. Collins. Yes, thank you. It's just one of those days where I kind of put everything together. Yes. Challenge golf. Oh, I don't know. For how much? Yes, you can count on me. I'll be there today. Thank you. Winifred, would you call the airport and get me 2 tickets to Ocean View City and then get a hold of Richard Schuyler for me? Would you do that? Well, do you know that $50,000 mortgage payment we're worried about? We don't have to worry about that anymore.
It's just so good. We don't have to worry about that anymore. The convenience factor is off the charts here, where the prize money is just exactly the amount that the school needs to solve all their problems. Not accounting for, I guess, taxes paid on winnings, but who cares about that? Who cares, right?
Yeah. So this movie is Dean Higgins heavy. And
yes,
I could never find anything on whether or not this actor, I believe his name was Jack Flynn, had a drinking problem. But you cannot convince me that he was not lit up for a good portion of this movie. You can't. Just the way he picked up that phone. I don't want to be talking to anyone right now. Come on.
The only way I could see it is that, sometimes when you're doing voices, or like putting on an affectation, if that's the right word, you do kind of lose it and then you warm up. And then especially if you're doing a whole long scene like that, it's like, that's the best take we got. So we're sticking with a little bit of a mumble. That's the only way that I would pass it off.
No, and I'm sure.
But otherwise you're right. I mean, I feel like it is very, he's very, a little slurry. This is after lunch.
Well, yeah, because like there's multiple scenes down the way where he's just like, "Hi, who's now Dexter? These guys," it's just, come on, man. I mean, he made it through the movie, but
it's true, yeah. And it was very him heavy, which I didn't mind too much, honestly.
No, because he's so funny.
Yeah. So Dexter eventually finds out through our friend Ed Begley Jr., who, by the way, in that scene, I don't know if you'll cover it, but he's somehow they're roommates now, and they were enemies, and then Ed Begley Jr. is reading a book or whatever, and in the living room of the flat or the house that they're in, there's half of a VW Bug.
Yes, I noticed
that. Deconstructed with the hood up and the frunk, I guess, and then there's like stuff in it. It's like a pantry.
Yeah, it was so cool.
It really was, yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't cut to a different scene where you could see a little bit more of it. But my first thought is like, okay, this is a chunk of Herbie. This
It could be.
There was a
you never know.
backlot piece of Herbie. No, and then I found out there's actually some Herbie trivia in this movie. So that piece might have nothing to do with Herbie, but Herbie is in this movie.
Okay.
And we'll go over it later. But I noticed that too. I love that.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's very, very 70s. So Dexter's driving his little dune buggy out onto the runway. Speaking of, being allowed to go anywhere you want, no matter what.
I'm glad you mentioned it.
As the plane is building up speed for takeoff. And as much as Dexter gestures to stop the plane, with the thumb across the neck, like, basically signaling stop, the Dean and Skylar fly off into the smog-shrouded hills of Burbank. And as you can imagine, without the help of the invisible Dexter, Dean Higgins doesn't do so well at this tournament. At the 12th hole, the other two golfers are at a 4 under, and the Dean is 98 over. And if you don't play golf, that doesn't mean anything to you, but you can just assume the gap is huge.
Yeah,
right?
it's a good little sight gag too, because it's just kind of hanging out back there. And so if you do know golf, you just kind of read that real quick.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's too bad. Of course, this tourney is broadcast on TV, and not only are all the students watching it, but A.J. Arno and his crew as well. Arno thinks there's something weird going on at the school, and he tells his guys to keep an eye out on the creative lab to find out what's happening. So, of course, they do. And while Dexter and Skylar are in the lab one night, rehearsing their showcase for presenting at the Forsyth Award the next day, Arno's right-hand man, Cookie, poses as a janitor, and he spies on the two boys through one of those open windows that are above the door at every classroom in the 1950s. I don't know what that's about. When Dexter sprays Skylar's head and it disappears, Cookie falls off his ladder, causing a big ruckus, and he scampers away to report back to Arno.
Boss, you are not going to believe this, but I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah, Cookie, you saw what with your own eyes?
Well, I don't know how to tell you. It's like crazy.
Well, tell me what it is.
Well, you're going to laugh at me, boss.
All right, dum-dum, so I'll laugh at you. Will you tell me what it is?
Well, this kid's got this spray, like they used to use for bugs. Well,
Cookie, you're aggravating me.
When you spray people with... Well, it makes them...
It makes them what?
You're not going to believe this.
Try me.
Invisible.
I believe you.
You see, I knew like I know my own name. You believe me?
You bet your sweet life I believe you. I knew there was something crazy going on around here. Now listen, Bird Brain, this is what I want you to do.
We got to bring back Bird Brain as an insult, man, because that is so good.
That and Numbskull.
Yeah, listen up, Bird Brain. So Cookie goes back to the school to swap out the bug sprayer with a decoy, which must have been a very easy thing to procure at that late of an hour, because it is, it's red. And those of you guys, if you're watching cartoons a lot, right, like Looney Tunes and such, the bug sprayer, it's like a pump action with a little jar at the end. That's what they're using here for this whole entire thing. So and even Cookie goes, the bug sprays like they used to use. So to me, that means they're falling out of fashion or over by the 1970s.
Yeah.
So how did you get
from
one?
The 50s.
Yeah.
He's got a cousin.
It fell off a truck. It fell at the back, but it looks perfect. Right. It's an exact match. And all of this is happening. This whole thing, this whole 3 or 4 scenes is one day.
I know.
Dean Higgins gets the call, goes directly to the golf tournament. And then it's just the whole thing is one day.
Well, and I'll tell you, as dumb as Cookie apparently is, he gets the exact same sprayer. And then he actually dyes the liquid inside the exact right color. A liquid he saw for about 4 seconds before he fell off that ladder. Right. To the point of where it fools Dexter and his friends.
It's crazy to me that he could, that he could definitely match it. And this is why, when I was trying to write scripts, they weren't very good, because I overthink so many plot points that don't need the level of brain power that I apply to them. Yeah. Of course, you're just writing the script and you're like, okay, and so he gets a matching bug sprayer. Nobody else is going to think about, well, how? Except me, and then I don't finish anything. Anyway, The next day, Mr. Forsythe arrives at the school, and from the way he's talking, he must just be a rich man who kind of goes around from school to school looking for a new invention to then buy and manufacture from children.
Yeah.
Seems rather predatory, but, you know, I suppose it happens. I got
brain
something.
farming.
Yeah, I got something of that here.
Distinguished deans, honorable scholars, please come right this way. I think this would be a good place to watch from.
This is Dexter Riley and his assistant.
Nice to know you young people.
You do, sir.
Well, young fellow, what have you got to show us?
Well, sir, I think we've come up with something very extraordinary on invisibility.
You're not kidding us, are you, Dean?
No, I mean, I don't think so. Why don't you just sit down?
Let me explain the procedure to you so that no one will be alarmed. Now, I'm going to spray this substance on Mr. Schuyler, and he will disappear. He will then go to the table and raise those objects. Mr. Schuyler will talk as he does this so that you will know that it's his invisible body raising the objects. All right? Now, watch closely.
You don't see me, but I am now walking toward the table. Now you will see a vase. It is floating in the air, but it is not floating in the air. Although you cannot see me, I am holding the vase.
Okay, well, so of course we know that since the spray was switched out, Schuyler is not invisible. But the way he is talking was very funny to me.
Well, it's like, and does he not see his own hands in front of him while he's holding the vase up?
See, I wonder about that. If you're invisible, can you see what's happening? I feel like your depth perception would be off. Or can you see yourself while nobody else can see you? These are the rules we don't know.
Well, you can't. Well, they clearly don't see their own fingers because remember when they dipped him in the solution, they freaked out. They clearly can't see their own hand. Like it doesn't affect your eyes.
See, we've been saying Dexter's dumb this whole time. And this whole time it's been Schuyler. He's the one who doesn't need to be here.
This operation is run by monkeys. Of
course, now Dexter uses the fake sprayer and Schuyler doesn't turn invisible, but Dexter does kind of let things go a bit longer than they need to in this bit.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, so you just heard Schuyler picks up a vase and he's like, this is not, and then Dexter goes, Schuyler, and he snatches the vase out. Schuyler keeps going and picks up a bunch of other stuff. And it's like, nobody's saying, we can see you. Stop it. There's no.
I know. I
need
kind of
for this,
love it.
but
I love that. No, everyone is like so confused and dumbfounded. They're like, what is even happening? No one jumps in and goes, excuse me, he's not invisible. Is this part
what's
of it?
happening right now? As Mr. Forsythe and the rest of the panel leave the room in disgust, Dexter examines the liquid inside the jar of the bug sprayer in the only way that a student of chemistry at the university level located inside of an active chemistry laboratory could do. He dips his finger in it and tastes it.
Yeah.
And from this analysis, he determines that it's just colored water.
Yeah.
Again, we're raw dogging science in this entire movie. Like, we don't seem to care at all about the after effects of anything. It's actually a cyanide. Goodbye, everybody. I'm dying.
You got to break a few eggs.
I guess you do, even if they're your own.
Yep.
Eventually, he figures out that Arno is behind it, right? He's behind the whole thing. And he hatches a plan to figure out why he would want to steal a spray that turns things invisible. Gee.
Why would a criminal want that?
Yeah, I know. And the plan that he comes up with, send his 3 buddies to bug Arno's office in the only way we know how, a transmitter hidden inside a flower arrangement. And of course, it works. Schuyler hears Arno tell Cookie that at 1 p.m. that day, they're going to rob the Medfield Bank. They're just going to walk in, spray the money invisible, and walk right out. Schuyler rushes off and pulls Dexter and his friends out of class to tell them the plan, and Dexter then goes and informs the bank about what Arno is up to. Which, by the way, this whole scene, so Dexter and all his friends are in this classroom, and it's a very science, history.
Yeah, the guy's talking about something.
It's done really well because I don't know if what they're saying like made any sense to anybody, but like it's like ancient Mesopotamia and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, I've recognized some of these words, and it's done. It's almost like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where they're talking about economics and this whole thing, and it's like, oh, this is really, really dry, But I don't know why it fascinates me that in movies like this where you have some highly detailed information that is boring the pants off of everybody involved, but it's accurate. At least it sounds accurate. Like you have, like who do you call for that? Who do the writers call for that? At what point in the process did they go, we need to make this really boring for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Let's call my old professor.
Yeah, I'm sure they modeled this after their own experience in school.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was really great. Anyway, here's the thing.
So that's what they're planning. If we can get that formula back, we can still win the award. They don't announce the winner till tonight. Now look, Skyler, you get down to the police and tell them what you overheard. The rest of the guys and I'll go down to the bank. Let's go.
Right.
Go.
Let's get it.
Now, you're sure about this? I mean, you could be in an awful lot of trouble if you're wrong.
Yes, sir, I understand that. I'll guarantee it.
All right. Burns, I think that you'd better go around and warn all the tellers.
But Mr. Sands...
I'm not saying shoot to kill. Just to keep an eye on him, that's all.
Well, excuse me, sir, but keeping an eye on him won't do any good.
They won't? Why not?
Well, you won't be able to see them.
What?
Well, you see, they'll be invisible. And they'll make the money invisible, too. So, you really won't see anything. You'll just find the money gone, that's all.
And how do you propose to stop all this?
Well, in order to make the money visible again, all we have to do is wet them down.
Wet them down. Wet them down. I see. I suppose you're suggesting that we drive a fire truck right in here to the bank, or something like that.
Well, I didn't mean that exactly, but...
This is the biggest bunch of nonsense I've ever heard in my life.
That's also a good scene, man. Yeah. Everyone here just doing a great job. So as the kids are sitting outside of the bank, lamenting the fact that nobody believes their tales of invisible sprays and floating money, Dexter sees the fire hydrant that they're all sitting on and tells Skyler he has an idea. Go to the hardware store and get a fire hose and a wrench.
Yeah.
Classically sold at all small town hardware stores across the greater, right. The greater country of ours is, oh, you know what? I need a fire hose. Give me a fire hose with a connector that connects right to the.
Yeah. And
okay,
somehow that's easier than going to the hardware store and getting a big bucket of paint. So you can just throw paint all over the invisible people and mark them.
Yeah, or water. I don't know. Just spit on them. Pee on them. We'll do something.
It's like, no, you need to go. But with what money also are we? I'm assuming they're saying, go just grab the things off the shelf. We'll explain later. They run this
Dexter
town.
and his friends must be saving Medfield again.
Oh, these
Darla?
morally high-valued children must be helping out in some way. I'll just give it to them.
Suddenly, a red sedan rolls up, and I think the actors forgot that they're not supposed to recognize the car as belonging to Arno, because in another scene, Arno specifically says, get a car that can't be traced back to us.
Yeah.
But anyway, as this car approaches, they go, oh, there he is, and they hide behind, the dune buggy or whatever. But we see there's nobody driving it.
Yeah.
They arrive to the robbery already invisible, which somehow doesn't seem very smart either.
Because you had to drive all the way there, invisible.
You had to drive all the way there, yeah. Yeah. 2 sprays is all it takes, and the bags of money disappear. Despite their best efforts, the kids let Arno escape. They couldn't figure out how to work the spray, the fire hose or whatever.
Well, they're not firemen.
And they hose the bank manager down in the process. Hijinks occurred.
Yeah, man.
The kids jump into their cars and they race after Arno's car while the bank manager calls the cops, finally believing Dexter's story. Because he sees there's a car driven by nobody driving past them. And they go, oh, that must be. Okay. Our heroes finally catch up to Arno, blocking him on a random side street. And Arno fires a few shots to try and clear them out. But just then, the cops arrive. And I do want to mention the car that Skyler drives, that kind of ragtop VW bug. I love it so much, dude.
Yeah, it's a good car. But I like the fact that Arno shoots him. That's so cool. Like, because he's
Shooting
played
at
such
them.
a strange, confused clown in this movie. He hasn't been
Yeah.
a real threat.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he pulls out his wrench and just starts shooting.
Yeah, it's pretty
Because it's
good.
like, okay, yeah, he's a real gangster. Like, this is an actual gangster.
No, we got cops. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Please! Come on, Sergeant! We got him trapped! No! Hey, no!
Hey, what?
Sergeant, look out! Behind your car, Sergeant!
What's going on here? Let's get these guys out of here. I gotta get to a bank robbery.
But we got the robbers trapped in that car!
You what?
You can't see them, that's all.
Don't you give me any more of that invisible nonsense. I had enough of that down the station. You know something, boy? I'm beginning to believe you.
Shall we shoot, Sarge?
What at?
Okay, let's get out of here.
You're the boss.
Hey, they're gonna ram us. Let's go.
My insurance!
Which, okay, a couple things. Number one, I felt bad for that bug because I love the things. But also, Arno shoots at the cop's head because like the shot that you hear is firing at the cop and it hits the cop's hat and the hat goes flying. He's trying to headshot a cop. That is
I know. That's kind of what I love about the scene is like, that this is finally like getting to the level that character is supposed to be at. Like he's a criminal.
Right. He's a bad shot too. Is what he
Yeah.
is. In a blaze of crushed bumpers and demolished magazine stands, Arno's car crashes its way out of the blockade, through a park gazebo, and back onto the street. At a red light, Arno has what's probably the best idea any villain could have ever had, spraying the car invisible so nobody can see it. This, of course, leads the cops behind him to slam right into the back of their car, letting Arno escape. There's a fun little chase sequence that's done really well. That is a man getting splashed on the sidewalk by Arno, driving through a puddle, speeding in between two workmen carrying a ladder, crashing into a fire hydrant, wacky stuff like that, but through all practical effects. And it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
If we ignore the logic of why the water in the puddle or the hydrant didn't wash the invisibility spray off, I think we had a pretty solid little chase sequence there.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to point out about this that were amazing. Like, first of all, the whole thing, like the invisible car smashing through the stuff, gave me Pete's Dragon vibes, like right away. And that's in my notes. There's a reason that these things look the same. And also, there is a scene where the car, like the police car, hit the invisible car, right?
Yeah.
And the whole front smashes out. And that's pretty easy to do because they show the car, then they kind of cut to a full body shot and all the stuff is just falling out of the car. So that's like two different shots put together.
Yeah.
What is amazing is you hear the sound of tires squealing and then the two cops are standing there and you see two tire tread marks appear on the ground as the invisible car drives away. And I watched it about 4 or 5 times and there is no jump cut in there. There's no change in scenery. These two tire tracks just lay down.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure how they did it.
There's a lot of stuff in here that in this next chase scene that is exactly like that. I have no idea how they do it.
It was
if you did
magic.
it practically now, it wouldn't look any better.
Yeah. Now
It
that's
wouldn't
the
look any
one
better.
thing that I think we need to stress about this movie is the effects on this in general are still really good. Like to me, they're good now.
Yeah. Pretty sure that this next chase scene takes place around Griffith Park. Not that it matters for the story, but
It does.
There you go. We have some really neat effects of Arno's invisible car driving down the side of the road in the dirt, dust from the wheels kicking up behind it. And that's of course all you see. So it's these two lines of dust just driving along. You know what I mean?
Looks awesome.
I have no idea how they did it, but it's very effective.
I'm assuming like air vents almost like
I would
buried
imagine where they're
vents.
they maybe laid some track and then with holes in it, covered up with dirt, and then had some like a cover over it. So you run air through it and you pull the cover at the same time and it kind of shoots up. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think
Dude,
of.
that's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
More hilarity ensues, and eventually Arno is ran off the road by the kids, which sends Arno's car into a backyard pool party, washing the car off finally, and also the money. Again, it was a neat effect because they didn't cut away. You see nothing splash into the pool, and then the car's there, and then all the money's there, and it's like, wow, that's really neat. And the shot stays.
Yes, exactly. And they have people moving around in the scene. So it's like they don't do a jump cut or anything. Like the people are moving and then it just rematerializes smooth. It's almost like the water matches too.
Yeah. Yeah. They
looked
did a great job. Yeah. The kids rescue the formula from the pool and race to the presentation of the Forsyth Award to finally show off their invention. Dexter accidentally sprays Dean Higgins with the spray. And of course it takes a little bit, but half of his body finally turns invisible. But he doesn't know it. So again, he can, I guess, see his own appendages, but it's a whole thing. But it's classic stuff. Anyway, Medfield win the award and the school is saved. Hooray! And I have some of that.
If it was an open bar, Dean Higgins would not have noticed he was invisible.
No, that's true.
I've never seen people act so strange. I wonder what was in that champagne. I'll have to... Ah!
Hey! What's he doing lying on the floor? Give the mirror back.
Oh, what a dream. Wait a minute, I'm here? It wasn't a dream?
It certainly wasn't. Dean Eugene Higgins, I take great pride in presenting this check to Medfield College, $50,000, the Forsyth Science Award, for your massive contribution to the advancement of science.
Gee, that was close. We just won the award by the skin of our teeth.
We sure did. At least Higgins can pay off that $50,000 mortgage now, so I guess the school's good for another year.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I mean, he was able to come up with the $50,000 this year because you invented invisibility. But next year he's got to come up with $50,000 again.
Yeah, plus I discovered invisibility by accident. How many times is something like that going to happen?
Yeah, right. Hey, now don't start borrowing trouble. I mean, this year's all taken care of, right? And as far as next year is concerned, don't worry about it. I'll think of something.
Finally catches a glimpse of himself, and then Skylar dumps water on him in his back. I had to let the whole music play because it's so good. We win the award, and as the kids drive away, victorious in their efforts, I can't help but feel that $50,000 is a paltry sum for inventing friggin' invisibility spray.
Yeah.
And saving the college.
Yeah.
Again, these kids don't get anything. The only thing they get is another year of school.
College basketball players.
They don't get a single. Last year they didn't get a portion of the award. This year they're not getting a portion of the award. Do they at least get free tuition? Something?
No,
I don't know. Feel bad for them
because they invented it on accident. That's how the dean's going to see it. They're like, you didn't even do anything.
Well,
Yeah, but also, I'd like to speak to the moral of this movie. These guys get in their car and they drive away. And they kind of lay it out, which I think is funny. They sort of say the quiet part out loud. They're like, we won this by a freak accident that was none of our doing. Like the guys that lost actually invented a new piece of equipment for science that's going to revolutionize the field. They put research and time into this piece of equipment. I can't remember. It's like a spectrometer or something. That'll be used for generations.
Yeah, it's like energy, something with energy, I think, right?
Yeah. And these guys won because they accidentally discovered some sort of invisibility spray that we have no idea if it's radioactive or kills your cells. And so now they've gotten the $50,000 by no effort of their own.
Above and beyond that, right? Aside from all of that.
Yeah.
They can't replicate it.
No.
Because they have no idea that there was an electrical storm. They have no idea what caused the goop to turn invisible. So it's not like they can go ahead and just do this again or replicate it anymore. The other question I have, actually, let's take a break. We're going to come back and then we'll just be weird for a second. So hang on, everybody. It's the Buena Vista Boys. We'll be right back.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Good morning, Dean Higgins.
Oh, there's another beaut. That's Skylar.
Certainly. Good morning, Dean Higgins.
Morning, Druffle.
Morning, Dean. Howdy ho, Dean.
Tell them not to touch me.
Hi, Dean.
What is this?
Well, it's kind of an invention of my own.
Oh, I can imagine. Tell them not to touch me. Not to touch me. Tell them not to touch me.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for hanging around. We are back talking about Now You See Him, Now You Don't. And what I wanted to say real fast before we get into Matt's facts is I found it was odd that the sprayer didn't turn invisible.
Oh, yeah, like the jar.
The inside of everything or whatever. Because, like, here in my mind, I would love to see a pseudo horror comedy of like someone inventing invisibility spray, but it only gets the surface of whatever it touches invisible. So like if you're naked and I spray you, then your skin disappears, but all your muscles and stuff are still there. Yeah. And you walk around thinking you're invisible, but you're freaking everybody out. That would be cool.
Yes. That would be no. And I'll tell you, so the way that Kurt Russell explained the invisibility he was trying to make in the movie is that light reflects off the surface and bends around the object. So the reason the bottle would not have been invisible, the weird thing is, why wasn't the liquid invisible? The liquid should have been invisible because it's the liquid bending the light. It should not have existed.
No, it shouldn't have. However, what are you going to do?
But the reason the bottle would have existed with the invisible liquid inside of it is because the outside of the bottle was not coated in the bending spray.
True.
So the light was hitting the bottle. But yeah, the liquid should have been completely invisible, and he should have been accidentally dropping his hand in and going, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I'm touching it again, aren't I? God damn it.
Christ, God, I don't know where I put this crap.
All right, Matt, hit us with some facts, please.
Okay. No, this is good. This is some fun stuff. And there's actually something here that I wanted to talk about for a while.
Nice.
And we should do a bigger thing on it. This isn't going to do him justice, but my section is called Look, Facts Meets Human Flesh, Invisible. So this movie was released July 12th, 1972. I couldn't find how much this movie cost to make. It seemed like it would be a little bit spendy with some of the special effects, and they were bashing cars up left and right. But the box office take was $4,610,000. And from what I could find, it seemed like mixed reviews. It didn't seem like it was bad. It didn't seem like it was extremely impressive to anyone. It's kind of a mixed bag when you look at it. Like some people liked it, some people thought it was childish and like didn't really add anything to the landscape that Disney had.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, 3 out of 5 stars.
It's sort of like, hey, we have milk and then we have chocolate milk and we added strawberry milk. Oh, okay. Great. Sounds good.
Yeah, Neapolitan milk.
Yeah. So Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune gave the film 3 stars out of 4. That's pretty good. Called it one of the more clever entertainments for children designed by the Disney Studios. High praise. Charles Champlin of the Los Angeles Times called it a modest program picture with a notable professional cast and offering special effects which were workmanlike rather than inspired.
Workmanlike. What does that even mean? Like clumsy?
He consulted a thesaurus for that one. He was like, what can I say? I don't want to say pedestrian because they were more than that, but
right.
Which I actually don't agree with. I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do here, but they certainly sold me that invisible things were happening. I think they deserve a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
But so when you look at this movie, so like we said, this movie is a sequel as much as it doesn't seem like it is. Not only is this movie a sequel, but a bunch of people from behind the scenes came back for this. So Robert Butler, he returned as the director. Joseph L. McAvity returned as writer and associate producer. Robert F. Brunner came back as the composer. Cinematographer Frank V. Phillips, he reprised his role. And it was even edited by the same person, Cotton Warburton.
Okay.
So all of these people came back. And like you said earlier, I think they learned something working together. Like, we can make this script tighter. We can make these scenes shorter. You know, not everybody has to talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And so I think it's interesting because there is a certain sense of sameness when you watch this movie, but it is better. And so it's interesting to see all these same people came together and they actually made something greater. And that's good to know.
Yeah.
So one of the big changes, and maybe this is a factor in it, was that taking over as producer for this Medfield College entry is Ron Miller, the guy who went from pro football player to head of Walt Disney Company, and just so happens to be Walt Disney's son-in-law.
Good old Ron Miller, man.
Yeah, and see, and I'm going to talk about Ron Miller. We're going to get into it right now, because I have a lot of respect for Ron Miller. I think that he tried his best coming from where he was to where he ended up, and I think it was more than nepotism. I think he kind of had a good head on his shoulders for the most part.
Yeah.
So while playing football at USC, Ron was set up on a blind date with Walt and Lillian Disney's daughter, Diane. Things went well, and after some time dating, with Walt's blessing, they tied the knot in a small church ceremony in Santa Barbara on May 9th, 1954. Oh, man. Not long after Disneyland opened.
Yeah.
Their first child, Christopher, was born that December, just 7 months later. Only 5 months into their marriage, Ron was drafted into the Army. During the first 6 years they were married, he and Diane had 4 kids. After finishing his military service, Ron returned to football, playing a season as a tight end with the LA Rams. He once told a reporter about the time Walt came to one of his games. Ron caught a pass, and the NFL legend Dick Night Train Lane knocked him out cold with a brutal hit. Ron didn't wake up until the third quarter. Oh, man. Walt was not impressed.
No. I saw my future son-in-law get brain damage, and I paid for it, too.
After the season, Walt said, "You're going to die out there. How about coming to work with me instead?" And just like that, Ron went from football to film.
Hell yeah.
But not everyone was supportive. Some critics said Ron was just a dumb jock who married into the Disney family and got lucky. It didn't help that he had never finished college. But Ron's first job at Disney came in 1954 when working with WED Enterprises on early Disneyland planning before he got drafted. When he returned, Walt helped get him into the Screen Directors Guild, and Ron started working behind the scenes. One of his first credits was as a second assistant on Old Yeller, 1957. He also helped direct intros for Disney TV shows. All right, love it. And so then, at one point, Warner Brothers also cast him as the lead of a Western show called Cheyenne when the actor Clint Walker walked off the set. But Walt stepped in and told Ron to forget acting. Disney needed producers. Hey, knock that crap off. We got to get back here. Here, where are my
forget
camels?
about it. You're going to make way more money doing what I'm doing.
And so it's like, and so you take from this, and so far I take from this a little bit like, yeah, Walt is sort of crafting his career and it feels very nepotistic. But once we get into some of the more stuff that he helped produce, I think it's like, I think we'll agree that to a certain amount, he had a good eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Walker ended up returning and Ron never pursued acting again. That's probably for the best. Instead, he produced a long list of Disney classics. Son of Flubber, Summer Magic, one of my favorites, That Darn Cat. And today, I think we should change the name of the show to the Ron Miller Boys. Because Ron produced the movies Moon Pilot, A Tiger Walks, Treasure of Matacumbe, Hot Lead Cold Feet, and Watcher in the Woods.
My God.
Right?
That's like half of all the movies he's done. Yeah.
No,
That's crazy.
His first solo producer credit was Never a Dull Moment in 1968. Later, he helped make Escape from Witch Mountain, Pete's Dragon, The Black Hole, and The Black Cauldron, and Tron. So one thing, that's kind of one of the things I want to walk away from with this is like, my man was not afraid to try to get new things going. And a lot of it did fail. Like The Black Cauldron wasn't as big as it was supposed to be. It had a lot of problems. The Black Hole was sort of supposed to be like a little bit of like, hey, we're trying to capture the Star Wars market.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out too well. And it was a little bit of like, if you ever saw the movie Silent Running, right? Where the guy is like, he steals a ship and he's got these little robot friends with him. It's kind of what made Mystery Science Theater was kind of lampooned off that. That's kind of what Black Hole feels like a little bit. But it's like he took a lot of chances, and I think it's really cool. And not a lot of people do that. They try to keep it safe, but he's responsible for a lot of cool projects in the direction that Disney took in their live action movies. We actually, when he passed away in 2019, we did a whole show on our other show, Here's a Podcast, called Remembering Ron Miller, ex-Disney CEO. So if you want to know in depth, it's like an hour and a half episode. And he did a lot of really, really cool stuff. He pushed the company in a different direction. Yeah,
and,
I know. And I have a little bit more that
does
I'll touch on briefly. But yes, people should go listen to that show specifically.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go a lot deeper than it is here. But Ron, he was president of Walt Disney Productions in 1980 and the CEO in 1983, but not everyone was happy with his leadership. Investors began circling the company looking to take over. And in 1984, Walt's nephew, Roy E. Disney, along with investors Stanley Gold and Sid Bass, forced Ron out. They brought in Michael Eisner, Frank Wells, and Jeffrey Katzenberg. The trio would lead Disney into a 1990s renaissance. And I'm conflicted because it's like there was a lot of great stuff that rebuilt Disney in that time. And maybe that was the right choice at that moment. I don't know. But I think that's the hard part about capitalism in general. Yeah.
And where we have a company, we have companies, plural, right now, that are interested in only what is good for the stock and not for the company. And a lot of times you think that those things would be linked, but they're not. You know what I mean? And I think whenever you get investors complaining about the leadership of the company because their stock is going to go down, it's like, you know what? Things just go wrong sometimes, and you can't just cut bait and run. I mean, a lot of people love what Eisner did. A lot of people, more people, probably hate the stuff that Eisner did.
Yeah.
But so you're never going to please everybody. So at some point, you got to have people on the board that like aren't going to listen. Well, I mean, look at Tesla. The Tesla board's like half, friends are related to Elon, and that people have been calling for his resignation for years, but that's not going to happen.
No.
So I don't know. It's just it feels weird to be like, oh, you had a couple bad movies, you're not doing so good. the parks are still doing great. Like, what are you talking about? You know?
Yeah.
And I think Disney's too big, to be honest with you. Disney does too much. The company does too much to have one person in charge of like the whole kit and caboodle. I mean, you know, you have Iger putting his thumbs in all the Marvel movies and stuff. It's like, can you just let those do the thing? Because you're not really good at it. Thank you.
I know that's what happens when you have like a global conglomerate and you still have to have like the CEO at the top. It's like, you can't be everywhere. Like you can't have a unified vision for a brand sometimes when it's like that spread out.
Right.
Like sometimes it's worth pulling back a little bit and maintaining, you know, your brand by tightening up, not just like letting it flow out everywhere.
Right.
But still, Ron was left, he's left a major mark. He created Touchstone Pictures, which let Disney make more grown-up movies without hurting the family brand. First Touchstone hit was Splash with Tom Hanks. Ron also helped launch the Disney Channel, giving early funding to Tim Burton for his movie Victor and Frankenweenie, which I have a copy of right behind me. Which I love that he saw Tim Burton's potential that early. That's so great.
Yeah.
And then he also pushed for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, started Disney's first computer animation projects, and backed their first Broadway attempt.
So what I mean, like for all intents and purposes, he was a great visionary of what the company needed to do and what projects he needed to invest in. But people got a little froggy on their money, and so they're like, we want someone who's not going to do that, and then you ditch a guy who had actual creative vision. For Michael Eisner, who just wanted to be Walt Disney again.
Yeah.
He just wanted to have he wanted to be that guy. So he was on TV, he was doing all the stuff, and maybe that helped the image. Maybe it didn't, you know, who knows, but it felt way more self-serving than it needed to.
Yeah, no, I look back on it. I don't want to get into a whole sidetrack, but like I've made peace with a few things that Michael Eisner has done. Like when I used to be real stomping around like, Eisner, he's garbage. I think there is a few things that he did. In fact, the getting in front of the camera, I think ultimately was a good thing. Bringing back the face-to-face brand. Now, having like a live circus at Disneyland, major pass. But it's like there are those little things that he did where he's like, hi, I'm Michael Eisner, you know, like bringing that back and like bringing a little bit of like face-to-face time. I don't think that was a bad thing per se, but he had a lot of really sketchy ideas that didn't work out.
Yeah, man.
But after this, Ron and his wife Diane, they got into the wine business. And they brought a wine to Napa Valley. Well, they bought a land in Napa Valley, and they started a vineyard. And he spent the last 20 years of his life focusing on wine, and was never shy about saying he didn't love where Disney had gone after his time. Still, he and Diane were thanked in credits of Pixar's Inside Out, a quiet nod to the impact that they had. Ron passed away in 2019, but his legacy still shows up in both Disney's history and every bottle of wine with a Silverado label. Ron was 6'4".
Tank, dude.
I know.
Absolute monster.
Yes, absolutely. I know that was a long thing. I have a big long thing about Cesar Romero that I'm actually not going to talk all about. I'm going to just say something briefly because he's in both these movies. Cesar Romero is the best. And people will mostly remember him from the 1960s Batman TV show. But he actually started his career he started his career before 47. He was a ballroom dancer. First and foremost, he went to school at Colgate and Riverdale before working as a ballroom dancer. His Broadway debut came in 1927. Think about him being a ballroom dancer at 6'3".
Dude, that's insane.
I know. Just think about like a man that tall, like being light on his feet, moving around. Fascinating. He landed his first film role in The Shadows, or The Shadow Laughs, in 1933. That's an interesting foreshadowing,
right,
of how he'd start his career. Over the next few years, he acted alongside stars like Marlene Dietrich and Shirley Temple. So critics often say his best work was as the Spanish explorer Cortez in Captain from Castile, 1947. But he also stood out in comedies like Julia Misbehaves in the early 1950s. Romero starred in the spy series Passport to Danger, which made him a good amount of money thanks to a smart profit-sharing deal. I love it. There's a lot more history here, but honestly, for time, it's something we can talk about later.
Okay.
But this was something that I think was interesting. You were talking about the outfit he was wearing when he was on the golf course.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel that in this movie, it was probably so loose that he was able to dress himself. I would almost guarantee it, like that he got to pick out his own outfits, because it's like he's in so few scenes, and you know, these guys are constantly wearing the same thing, just a suit. And his belief was that you should live well, and to live well, you need to dress well, and never in the same outfit. His closets held 30 tuxedos, 200 sports jackets, and 500 suits.
How, at what point does everything blend together? Like, how do you choose from 500 suits?
I don't know.
How do you choose? How do you choose from 10 suits? To me, that's hard. That would be hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I have like 25 graphic tees. I can't get dressed in the mornings. How do you know, you can't, come on now.
I know.
That's insane.
I've always been fascinated by mostly men, because the demographic that I respond to, that always dress impeccable all the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because I find it so hard. Like, I have to dress up for work a little bit, but it's like slacks, button-up shirt. But men who at some point chose every single day, I'm going to go with something crisp. I'm going to have some sort of suit. I'm going to have some sort of full shined shoe situation. And I'm just like, when are you ever in normal clothes?
Well, you know what? I think it comes from, you have to have more money than you need to survive. For me, I want to be that. Like, I would always say, like, man, if I had to wear a suit, I would love to wear a suit. This is when I was working like a warehouse. I'm like, yeah, sure. I would love to do that. That would be great. But you need money to do it. And I've never had a job that I made money at. So it's like, I can't. So now it's my $20 graphic tee, it's like, oh, I'll just wear this. It's fun. But like, I want to, I would love to do that. And you're right, because you don't know how, but what you have to do is spend a ton of money to find your style first. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it is, where like you and I have no shot at being able to express ourselves in these crisp, like you see these actors walking around on their time off or whatever. You're like, that guy looks awesome right now.
No, he's got like his perfect linen shirt, right, tucked into these chinos and everything.
Yeah,
it's just like, dude, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm gonna wear this around my house, making my children sandwiches. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that'll never happen.
I'm going to be walking from the kitchen to the living room and back in my chinos and my crisp shirt.
There is a company, I think there might be more than one, where you can rent clothes, where they'll send you outfits like every month, and then you just return them.
Oh, I do.
So
I do.
It could be stuff like that,
where if you like them, you keep them, and that's been cool. I've gotten new stuff that way.
I did that when, like, a couple years ago, they fired me because I wasn't buying enough. Because like, I'm tall, right? I'm 6'5", and I have just weird measurements. And so nothing, like, I can't buy, I don't know why we're talking about this. I can't buy long sleeve shirts, like jackets and sweatshirts and stuff off rack. I can't do it because I can't find anything that fits my long ass arms. And so eventually I bought one pair of pants from them that I still love. And they fired me. They're like, yeah, you're basically like, we can't, we're not the people for you. So good luck in your fashion. I'm like, damn, dude.
We've got to let you go. I don't even work here.
Yeah. It's like, no.
I know they got me a couple of times. There was a sweater that I didn't like, but if I bought everything, the discount was big enough that the sweater was free. So I mathed it in my head and said, I'll wear the sweater somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, guy math, dude. Love it.
Free sweater.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
Yeah.
So one of the characters that showed up in this movie is Jim Bacchus, and he played Timothy Forsyth. And everyone will remember that he was on Gilligan's Island as Thurston Howell III.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what I liked about this, he's a rich guy in this movie too. He's really good at being rich men.
Oh yeah, dude. He has that transatlantic accent or whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's also the voice of Mr. Magoo for many, many years. Magoo, you done it again. And then Ed Begley Jr., he does not reprise his role. He's a whole different person.
Is he? I did not know this.
Because he was, if you look it up, he was uncredited, I believe, in the first movie. And he's from the other college.
Yeah, he's from the other college, which is why I was like, I don't understand why he's roommates now with Dexter Riley.
Yeah, no, Druffle is his name in this movie. And this is his second feature film. So between this, Ed Begley Jr. did 2 TV appearances, then a movie, right? Is the Computer Wars Tennis Shoes. Then he did TV. This is his second movie, bunch more TV. And then he started doing movies on the regular.
Wow, he actually got lines in it this time, though.
I know. I was really surprised. So we are talking about the special effects in this movie, and I want to talk about the special effects team. I had hoped to go in depth on how they did all these special effects. This movie is not famous enough for anyone to have cataloged or cared about how the effects were done in this movie. So this is the best I can do for you guys. So the special effects team, which I give a lot of credit to, they have a ton of bona fides, is Danny Lee, Eustace Lysett, and Hans Metz, who's uncredited in this movie. And while the three were all heavily involved in the special effects of many notable Disney movies in the 1960s through the 80s, including a few Buena Vista Boys classics, they all worked together previously on Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And as you recall, there are 2 major scenes involving clothing and objects taking a life of their own, very similar to Invisibility. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah.
So this is giving them the great training ground for the visual tricks that would be used in this movie. So all 3 of them worked together on Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I don't know exactly how and what capacity they were all jiving together, but I think that's interesting because that movie does a great job of like those pants that end up like kicking that kid in the butt and the dresses flying around with their arms flailing everywhere. I love that movie. And the end scene where she magics all of the suits of armor to actually like do their job. Like they're marching. They even have the horses, like the drapes that go over the horses are horse shaped and they're like floating along. That is fascinating stuff. And I would love to know more about how they did that, but they just didn't catalog that information very well back then.
Yeah, I feel like that was just a job, you know?
Yeah.
It's like blue collar. I'm just doing the work. Oh yeah, you got this. All right, great. You know? And that's kind of it. Like we only know special effects artists from Disneyland because people are fascinated and obsessed, you know, like Yale Gracie and Rolly Crump. And that's the only reason we know is because people in the 80s and 90s tracked them down because, you know, and then they got their interviews, but no one cares about this. Not no one cares, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, it was what it was. Yeah, you're right. It was just work. You know, what I think is funny about this though, looking at the visuals from this movie, especially the car driving and smashing into a bunch of stuff, these 3 also all teamed up later on Pete's Dragon. So when Pete was smashing through the schoolhouse in the dragon shaped hole that got made, and you know, all the invisible footsteps and you know, dragging his tail through the dirt.
I'm not saying anything not because it's not interesting, but because I have no reference for either movie.
Oh, you've never seen Pete's Dragon?
When I was like 10, and then that's it. And then Bedknobs and Broomsticks I've never seen.
Yeah,
so
I
feel like I should finally say, like, I love what you're saying, but I have no idea what you're saying.
Well, it's interesting because if any of you out there who haven't seen it, or who have seen the movies, maybe it's been a while, you're going to be reminded of them immediately. Like somehow the visual rhythm is the same for these movies. I was thinking about this immediately. Those are the two movies that came to mind when I was watching this movie. And then to find out the team that brought you this film brought you both of those movies. Like the effects team were the same, exactly the same.
That's probably why they already knew how to do it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And Danny Lee and Hans Metz returned to Medfield College one more time to do the special effects for Strongest Man in the World. And I'm excited for us to do that one because I kind of want to see, like, what does that entail? Like, what I assume cars are going to be flipped, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, something's going to happen there. And then a funny side note about Hans Metz, who again, I think goes uncredited in the next movie. He gets a lot of, he's not credited in a lot of these. He did the mechanical special effects for Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know. And then he would return to the invisibility genre in 2000 when he was shop supervisor on Hollow Man. And that's
there you go.
Kevin Bacon, I believe.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, right. It's like the idea of like what you would do if you got turned invisible, like how your like kind of dark tendencies would come out.
Yeah.
Pretty rad.
I would save my college.
I think that's what he does in that movie.
I'd win $50,000. And then that's it.
Metz also, I thought this was an interesting connection, and it gave me an idea of a conspiracy we should think of later. He returned to working with Kurt Russell a decade later on John Carpenter's The Thing in 1982, like 10 years after this movie came out. And it got me thinking down this rabbit hole about how if you look at The Thing and you think about the life of Dexter Riley, it could be reasoned that Dexter, for reasons after The Strongest Man in the World, changes his name and changes his identity, but continues in the sciences and gets put in an outpost with a bunch of men.
That would be sick.
Working on the sciences. And
all right. We'll link those together at one point.
Right?
That could be our Patreon only show is us covering The Thing.
Here's a few fun things. These are just rapid fire fun things that I thought were interesting. Now You See 'Em, Now You Don't made Disney history in 1975 by being the studio's first film to air on television in an uncut full 2-hour time slot.
Wow.
Before that, Disney movies were shown on TV either in a trimmed down version or, like we've talked about before, split into 2 separate 1-hour broadcasts, like Thursday and Friday. You know, you're going to see the whole movie. So that green Volkswagen that you love so much that Skylar drives is actually made from 2 recycled cars used in the original 1968 hit The Love Bug.
There you go.
So he is driving Herbie around.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, that second one that flips over, that's actually a gutted Herbie that they repainted. And they used this like inflatable kind of tire system to flip it over.
You can kind of see it when Arno's car is charging. You can kind of see here, I'm just going to do it. And I'll probably cut this out, but like I wanted to mention this when it was happening.
Okay.
So there's the bumper.
Yeah.
To stop Arno's car from actually hitting the bug. And then there's a thing underneath here that you can see.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah. And then this looks like a rig here to help it be stationary in case it gets hit, maybe.
Yeah.
Because look, there's a whole rig right here. There's a whole thing.
Oh, yeah. So that when it flips, it doesn't flip any farther. It just goes to its side and stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Well, and then because when he finally hits it, it like flips. There's no kinetic energy. It's like contact flip. It's like completing a circuit. It's very funny to me.
Yeah, you can kind of see that.
I've always wanted a ragtop friggin' bug. I had a 68 bug, man. I missed that thing.
Some more trivia that I thought was interesting. I found this last night. I was in like a hyper-focused state and I was going through and I was like, I wonder what kind of car Arno got. Because he makes a point of saying, get something, that nobody will notice and it won't trace back to us.
Yeah.
And you look at it and the car kind of looks old. And I found out that Arno and Cookie are in a 1951 Hudson Hornet. It's a 4-door version of Doc Hudson from Cars.
Oh, there you go, man.
It's the exact same. And so I'm like frantically like on the internet looking at 1951 Hudson Hornets versus 1952 Hudson Wasps because there was a debate on a forum about which version of the car this was. And when you look at it, it's clearly a 51 Hudson Hornet. It has all of the markings, which
I love how there's a forum thread about it.
Oh yeah, it was a big deal. But it's funny because when you see one like really shined up and nice, like, a lot of people have these as collector cars. They look amazing. Like it doesn't really do this car justice. They're beautiful vehicles.
Yeah, at some point, I think you can trace the decline of Western civilization to the point where we decided to opt safety over design in cars.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm kidding, by the way, folks.
No, I don't know.
I like being safe.
But some of these cars today are, oof, yikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that there's kind of that Disney connection with Doc Hudson. Like I didn't really think about it when I saw that car. Because you see him with the eyes and the mouth, and you don't necessarily connect him to a real car that exists.
Yeah, well, and also because I'd never heard of the Hudson Hornet before Cars, before the movie. Like, so
true.
it seems like a random. I didn't even know it was real.
Almost like a made up car, know. So no, I thought that was so cool. Like I like how, and I'm sure it was. Obviously because of the Hudson Hornet actual history and not have anything to do with, hey, let's make Doc Hudson from the car. And now I see you now. Or now we see him. But I just like, that's a little bit of car trivia for you. A little 2 pieces of car trivia. If anyone wants that, you can cut out all this. It's insane. Cut this down for time.
No.
20 solid minutes. And I checked of this movie is devoted to golf. Time I will never get back.
Yeah, they did lean very heavy into the golf gags, and I don't know why, but I guess that's why it was so Dean Higgins focused. But it was weird.
Yeah, it was like
I
the
didn't
first
mind
time
it so much, but I felt a little bit like, all right, they went right to that edge of maybe too much golf, and I feel that's really easy to do, and they did it.
Well, it was like, because the first gag was funny when they were putting the balls in the hole and everything. But then when they went on, he's like, I'm going to win a tournament. I'm like, oh, you should have written something else for this.
I know. Well, and then he was so bad. Like, we didn't need all the scenes of him being terrible at golf. We also didn't need all the scenes of like him being good at golf. Like they could have, for sure.
I had said earlier, and this is why there was so much golf in it. I don't know. But earlier I had said that coming back as writer for this was Joseph McAvity. And when you look him up, we've talked about him before. He's written a bunch of stuff that we've covered here, and he's a dang good writer. And what I noticed for this movie is he gets the writing credit, but the story credit for this movie goes to Robert L. King. And his IMDb has no other story credits. He has no other credits really at all, except for a couple of things for, I think, like, Wonderful World of Disney. This was turned into a comic for Walt Disney Comics.
Okay.
Walt Disney Comic Digest, number 37 in October 1972. I could not find any actual graphics for this comic. You can see the cover, and a few people who are selling this will show you some of the inside, but it's always like the Donald Duck stuff. It's always it's always the comic book stuff, but there's no one showing off any of the, now you see him now you don't material that's in there. So I don't know. Somebody go look that up. See if you can find anything. Email it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Comic book. And it's the same year it came out. So it must have been at least popular enough, or maybe they were like, hey, we're going to plan to roll this out 6 months afterwards. So let's start doing the comic book now. And you know what I mean? Like, I wonder what maybe there was a point where they thought, hey, let's get into comic books and we can release comic book versions of these movies that we make also.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to find is that what I read is that it was, comicized. It wasn't they just took shots from the movie and made a framing comic out of that it was actually like drawn. And so that's what I'm trying to find. Like, I would love to see that.
Yeah, that I feel like that would take months and months. So I feel like maybe it was part of the marketing in that just didn't really pay off.
Maybe
moving forward.
But
that's cool, though.
So my final piece here, because I'm going to find it. Edward Andrews, who plays bank manager Mr. Sampson, was in 2 episodes of The Twilight Zone, and they are bangers. I love these episodes. Season 1, episode 14, Third Rock from the Sun, which is about these people who are trying to get off the planet, and they have to steal this experimental rocket ship. I don't want to say any more about it for people who haven't seen it. It's actually a great kind of twist ending. It's really good. And then he was in season 5, episode 14. Also, my man's got 2 episode 14s called You Drive. And it's about a gentleman who has a accident in his car on the way home. And then he has something that he did that's unresolved, and the car will not leave him alone. The car comes to life and starts taunting him and kind of fueling his guilt over what he did.
Like,
and it's
Christine.
really good.
Right,
yeah, it's
cool.
really cool. So check those out if you can. And that's it. That's all I got.
I love it. All right, everyone. Well, that's now you see him, now you don't. And definitely go check this movie out. It was, like we said before, it's a little bit tighter version of Computer Wore Tennis Shoes. And everyone just did a fantastic job. And you could see A.J. Arno in his very best loose-knit cardigan. I loved it.
Yeah, all right, that was a good time.
Yeah. If you want more information on any of the podcasts we have here on the Ears Up Podcast Network, you can go to earsup-podcast.com. That's where you can find the episode devoted to Ron Miller. But we have, 13 years of episodes up there, ranging from, I don't know, to who knows. You know what I mean? We got a lot of stuff up there. So check that out. And then, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about where we can find your podcast, please?
Okay. You can find our podcast, Shelter from Oblivion, where all your best podcasts are sold. And you can also find us on Instagram at shelter.from.oblivion. I haven't put anything new up there recently. I promised last time I would, but unfortunately human life got in the way. And so I have 2 shows I'm editing right now that are going to be bangers once they get out, but it's going to be a little bit. So just go and check out our entire back stock in preparation for the next show we drop.
Yeah, there you go. And if you want to see these recorded live, we do that over on our Twitch channels. You go twitch.tv/earsup, and that's, of course, ears with a Z, because in 2013, that was really cool to do. Now, not so much. But anyway, check us out. That's where we are literally right now. But by the time you hear this, it's going to be too late for that episode. But this is where we do and we do our other regular Ears Up shows live over there on Twitch as well. And there's some video gaming every now and then. And if you want to support the network at all, like this show or any of the other shows that we have, you can hit us up on Patreon. You go to patreon.com/earsup and subscribe for as little as $5 a month. You get all the shows across the whole entire network, but you get a bunch of shows for free as well. There's a secret show where we talk about Disney news, and all the other podcasts that we have on the network, they do extra shows as well. So you're not only supporting this show and the other shows, but you're getting extra content for free, and then you get a little discount from our Etsy page. It's a whole thing we got going on. So check us out over there. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to this episode. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.
see what is commonly referred to as the Roman keyhole effect, but this in fact can be traced back to the early Phoenicians. Now, early Phoenician art can be traced back to the Franco-Cantabrian Paleolithic age, when the first implements fashioned by the hand and mind of man appeared. A fascinating question arises as to whether Western naturalistic art ever made contact with the Caspian and Neolithic pre-Egyptian world. In order to study the Phoenician art form, we must first investigate the lifestyle of the period and the accomplishments of these people.